Hello, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show.
So overnight, there's rumours, depends when you're watching this, but overnight there's rumours that there might be a live-action Star Wars TV show coming in.
That's all right now.
Yeah, because this seems to be dragging on for like 10 years or so. Back in 2005, Lucas was in negotiations with a network about bringing a live-action TV series.
Yeah.
He said at the time there was 50 scripts written. There was a producer called Rick McCallum who said that it was going to be basically around the kind of scumbags and the underground bosses who live on Coruscant and controls drugs and prostitution. And one of the influences was Deadwood. We almost put that there for a laugh. And that kind of fizzled out. Then obviously the Disney acquisition happened.
Yeah.
Star Wars has been ramping up quite
Everything.
quickly, very recently. You know, we talked about comics recently,
Yeah.
all the tie-in novels, video games soon,
Yeah.
and the movies, spin-off and core. And it feels like TV show will be on the agenda. It's not confirmed, it's not official, but it feels like we might get a TV show in the next few years.
That's awesome news, but do we need one? Do we need a Star Wars TV show?
It feels like there's a lot of Star Wars, and obviously there are Star Wars TV shows like Rebels, which is great, but not live action.
No.
And it feels like, you know, to quote the Joker, it's all part of the plan, I think. They want to get, I think they're probably looking at what Marvel's done. Like, I think Marvel's probably quite a kind of blueprint a lot of people in Hollywood kind of look towards on how to build a kind of expanded universe, primarily in film, but then flesh it out elsewhere. Obviously started in comics, but kind of working from the films outwards.
Saying that though, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not very good.
It's got better, but also...
Yeah, everyone keeps saying that. Everyone keeps saying, oh yeah, it gets better in the second series. I'm not watching a series or something that's not very good.
Well, just because you don't have staying power.
To get to a second series or something, that's all right.
Yeah, but you and I both have great hopes for obviously the Netflix shows, Daredevil and the Defender stuff that's coming.
I'm not preparing myself for Daredevil to be anything other than better than Mad Men, which is my favorite TV show. So,
probably quite similar.
Yeah, I guess so. Costumes.
So we don't know, you know, so say like Rebels has kind of the youth market taken care of, obviously a bit of overlap with older fans. But what if they did, you know, kind of some of these ideas, what if they did position it as more kind of a HBO, Netflix style serious drama, so kind of catering for long-time fans of the Star Wars series who maybe want something a bit, I hate to use the bloody word, but edgier.
Yeah, I'll bet you my own bum that'll never happen.
Okay.
I don't
know why, if I want that to happen then.
You can have it, I'll take it off and hand it to you. You could eat out of it, it's very clean. You could eat cereal out of it, you could put chips in there for when people come around.
Okay, do you want to get back to the Star Wars stuff?
Yeah, it'll never happen. I don't think they'll ever do like a dark, like, I can kind of see, because it doesn't serve any of the characters they've got, they'd have to create new characters.
Well, I think that's what they definitely would. I think this would be kind of supporting characters, the characters like in the gaps.
Right. I just don't know. I just don't see them doing it. It's easy for Marvel to come up with dark, edgy TV shows to go, right, you know, they tried to make a 12A Daredevil, everyone hated it. The only way to do Daredevil is to do it really, really dark. For Star Wars, I don't think Star Wars has that, where they can the only way to do this show that we've got an idea for is to make it dark and edgy.
But what if one of the TV shows was focusing on bounty hunters? Now, for a while, we thought one of the first spin-off movies, the Edwards movie, was going to be all around the kind of a series of the original bounty hunters breaking into the Death Star. That could happen, but that doesn't sound like that's what Rogue One is.
It doesn't sound like that at all.
So what if it was that kind of seedy underside of the Star Wars universe? I feel like that could almost be tackled in a more kind of mature TV show where it's like the Hutts, it's internal politics, it's kind of intergalactic drugs, kind of all these factions who have a stake in the war being perpetuated between the alliance, the people who kind of benefit in times of war and conflict. I would like to see it, and there are, again, more rumours, but some of them are speculating that they could film some of it on the existing sets down at Pinewood in the UK, or else in London, just because if you've got them, you might as well take advantage of them. It lends a bit of authenticity. Also, if they're going to make Star Wars movies every year, there's going to be stuff permanently set up there in one way or another.
Maybe we can start filming down there. Just nip in, film a Rebel Base. JJ, 2 seconds, mate. Let's go do these links.
Just 5 minutes, please.
I'm up for it, but you know, I'd want to know more and stuff about it. Or I'll just watch Deadwood. So welcome to a new section of the show, Force Feedback, because I came up with that name.
Are we going with that?
Yeah, definitely.
All
We've been getting loads of feedback from you guys, which is amazing. You can email us anytime, rebelbase@ign.com. So we thought we'd read some of them out, because some of them are generally good, some of them not so good, and some of them are just a bit weird.
Yeah,
but
right. I haven't included them, so...
This one, though, from Trey McCabe. I know I keep going on about Revan, but he's such a good villain because he's such a bad hero. So last week we talked about some of our favourite villains that you might not know. I saw him on the screen and got excited, and you guys talked about Malak. Of course we did, because Malak's a badass, who's just as fascinating. I really like how you chose some non-canon Legends characters and weren't complaining about how they don't exist anymore, though, which is good. I think that's all good stuff.
Yeah, I think that's our attitude about it. It's all Star Wars, it's all good, and to get the more exciting new stuff, I feel like some of that stuff had to take on that status. So it's not a bad thing, and that stuff still exists.
And I think, we're definitely going to talk about Darth Revan in more detail as the show goes on, because we want to do like a huge episode about the video games and about.
I think we've got a lot of plans to cover the video games, including something very ambitious that I won't perhaps commit us to on camera just yet.
Don't do that.
Next email is from Christian Quentus. He also watched the 6 wicked but less well-known Star Wars villains, which is up on site right now. He sent us 13 of his favourite less well-known villains, but I'm just going to go through his top 5. General Grievous.
Nice.
Darth Nihilus. Admiral Dala. Marillion Tarka. And Grand Moff Trancher as number 1.
I think we could do an entire episode just about all the Grand
Maybe we
Moffs.
shouldn't have read this out and just...
Well, he's done a better job than this.
Moff-Off.
Although I don't think about... I like Grievous, but...
Moff-Off.
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep saying it
I
until I get some validation. Validate me.
I like Grievous, but I think he's... we've seen quite a lot of him. I don't think I need to see any more.
Yeah, so that was great, Christian, apart from Grievous.
Yeah.
Thanks for writing
is number 1. We also did an episode on our favourite fan theories about what episode 7 is going to be about. So we're getting loads of these. This is from Sean Mafia, and he says, "Here's my theory for Star Wars 7: The Force Awakens. It has been nearly 30 years since the Empire had been defeated and the Force had nearly been forgotten, when all of a sudden an old Emperor awakens with more powers and abilities with the Force than ever. Will the rebels be able to stand at this evil threat? It all ends with a cliffhanger." So will they be able to stand at the evil threat? His email ends with a cliffhanger because he doesn't even say if they can or not. I think that's a cool theory. It's pretty much what we touched upon quite a lot, I think.
For mirroring content.
Exactly. Well done. Well done, Sean Mafia.
But yeah, thank you for your emails. Please email us at any time, rebelbase@ign.com, or contact us on Twitter. You're
Cameron Gav.
I'm Krupa. And yeah, anything you want to see appear on the show, ideas, suggestions, please send them in. A lot of Star Wars stuff is about to kick off.
TIE Fighter. It's a fan film done by a fan called Paul Johnson.
I thought you were going to do one of your poems then.
Yeah, my haikus.
TIE Fighter.
Bring the lights down a little bit. Lights on, get out of it. Just lights on me. I'm going to do some beat poetry about TIE Fighters.
So big, so black.
But no, TIE Fighter is a fan film made by Paul Johnson. And it's done in sort of like a music video, anime type thing.
80s anime.
It's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, so 4.5 years of weekends spent doing that, which is time amazingly spent. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
it looks
it's
beautiful.
really good.
Yeah, so if you've not seen it, you should definitely check it out.
It's really fun. I think, it's got some really cool bits in there. It just sort of does away with like facts and things on Star Wars and just like...
It's just loads of carnage.
Awesome.
This is basically Star Wars, a distillation of Star Wars rerouted through 1980s anime.
Yeah.
And I also like the kind of description under it. He says like, you don't have to back me on Patreon, I don't have one. Don't back me on Kickstarter, I don't have one. If you like this video, just buy someone you know a can of Coke or a chocolate bar.
Ah, you like them.
Yeah, I haven't got a chocolate bar yet.
Kind of Coke. So you've done Paul Johnson the service.
Should we get on with the segment?
I think so, yeah. So we were going to talk about our favourite Star Wars fan films.
Yeah. Well, what's really good about this? Obviously, I assume Lucasfilm are litigious with some things like merchandising, but they're actually really supportive of fan films and fan kind of documentaries and stuff surrounding Star Wars. They seem quite willing to embrace fan culture, as long as nobody's like trying to make loads of money off it.
Yeah, well, there's even a Star Wars fan film awards, which is held every, it hasn't been held for a while, but it is being held this year, and the winner will be announced at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, voting is taking place this week.
That's right, yeah. It finishes on the 27th of March, so depending on when you're watching this, you can actually go to StarWarsFanFilmAwards.com and you can vote for the In the Audience award. I've been watching them pretty much all day, done nothing else. I don't know if I was meant to be. So my two favourites then, the first one is The Modern Jedi. Now this is made by a brother-sister combo, which has the parents in it, and it's basically what a modern day Jedi would be like in the real world. So it's this young kid, and he's just basically lazy. So he's using his Jedi powers to stop him, to get drinks and to get his homework out of his bag and stuff like that.
Is this what you'd be like as a modern Jedi?
Lazier, in fact.
Lazier?
Yeah, because he's still going to school and that. I've
Wouldn't even go to
been
school.
that off. Because there's a bit in it actually where his parents catch him reading like a little Star Wars book and not doing his homework. And I thought he was just going to like give him the old...
Mind trick.
But didn't. No. He's doing lots of little Force stuff. And the effects in it are pretty cool considering it's a little fan film. I really, really like that one anyway. The other one that I really like, it's called Chronicles of Young Skywalker, The Dark Clone Unleashed.
I think I saw you watching this one.
Yeah, it's so good. It's the cutest thing I've ever seen. So it's basically this little kid, Cameron Cousins, and it was directed by Brent and Blake Cousins, so assuming his fathers or uncles, I don't know. But it's so funny. It's like this little young kid, maybe he's like 6 or 7, I think, just running around being Luke Skywalker and bad Luke Skywalker as well.
Mischievous.
So not only have they got, I mean, they already have my vote because the kid is like this, is really, really cute, and he's got a lightsaber and he's really giving it, sort of trying to take out all these different droids. But they also then employ this like crazy like story where it's like Luke Skywalker against Dark Luke Skywalker, and they sort of have a little battle off, and they're actually both on screen at the same time. So the effects, like the budget is pretty good, or the budget and time are really, really good because they're having a little lightsaber battle. It's the same kid. What? What's going on? It's so good. But even the lightsaber, though, this is the cutest thing, is too big for him. So it's like this giant lightsaber in this little kid's hand.
Much like Mark Hamill in the first Star Wars. That's a real man's weapon.
Yeah, that's actually the one I voted for because I laughed so much when I was watching it. But
So these are the movies
on,
that
yeah.
are currently in the competition. You can go out and vote.
Well,
for them.
there are more in the competition, but these are ones that are in the audience award. So I think
Okay.
these are like the best ones they've brought in.
Right, got
and they
you.
might win the audience award. But anyway, there's already loads of Star Wars fan
Yeah.
films out there, and they, there's been, if you go on Star Wars' YouTube channel, they've got like some of the best ones from the last like sort of few years. I think from 2001 to like 2009, they've got some like amazing ones on there.
Yeah, we were actually, when we were like researching the show, I found a feature on IGN. We actually
Yeah.
collated some of the best ones.
Really?
So I'm going to go through some of the classics
Okay.
of the Star Wars fan film subgenre.
Okay.
So the first one is, I'm going to go Chad Vader.
This is a
This
good
is not a
one.
movie. This is almost like a kind of ongoing,
Yeah, like
mundane
YouTube
office
series.
mockumentary, office style
Yeah.
web comedy. Chad Vader
Yeah.
is the manager of a convenience store.
Yeah.
And the show kind of follows his day-to-day exploits,
Yeah.
managing and kind of getting the most out of a small
Yeah.
and not very motivated workforce.
No. I really like this because it's obviously filmed with the people who work at the store.
Yeah.
So they're just having a laugh in this like little convenience store. It's
Yeah,
really
there's a few
good.
really good things about it, because I think when we spoke to like Kieran Gillen on the show
Yeah.
about writing Vader, and we spoke about Vader as a character,
Mm.
he's like this evil character. We know his backstory, we know so much about him, but a lot of his day-to-day,
Yeah.
he's like going to meetings.
Yeah.
Like in the first film, he's going to meetings and having like dealing with bureaucracy
Yeah, yeah.
and the kind of inefficiency of a big organization.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what he has to deal with in the convenience store at a
Yeah.
much more mundane level.
It's really funny. There's a bit in the episode that you sent me where he goes to complain to his manager
Yeah.
about some other guys having problems with,
Yeah.
and it's really, really funny. It's like it's been done quite a few years ago as well.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
It's
it's
not really dated. Also, if you go to the Star Wars YouTube channel, there's The Empire Strikes Back Uncut. Now, this is amazing. I've watched the entire thing before. It's really, really good. Fan-made segments, just redoing The Empire Strikes Back. So they asked loads of fans to send in 15-second clips that they've redone. So it's like stop motion animation, live action, and it's basically people being stupidly creative on recreating Star Wars in this most amazing way, and it's so funny. Like it's lots of them like feature actual bits from the film, but they've just sort of like mashed up and things like that.
It's really creative.
it's really funny,
Because it's so
yeah.
restricted what you have to do.
Yeah.
I think that leads to creativity.
Yeah.
So they've done New Hope and they've done Empire.
That's right, yeah. So it's a guy called Casey Pugh who does them. I think after the first one was received so well, that's when Star Wars officially became on board, I think, and they've released the entire thing, which you can watch in full on the Star Wars YouTube channel. It's so good.
Another funny
Yeah.
one, because I know you like the lols.
I do.
Is Troops 1997.
This is good.
It's quite a famous one, written and directed by Kevin Rubio.
Yeah.
And it's in the style of Cops.
Yeah.
The kind of TV documentary series. So
Yeah.
it follows a group of stormtroopers on Tatooine around the time of the beginning of the, New Hope.
Yeah.
And they're just going around doors, kind of finding out what's happening, dealing with like domestic issues between
Yeah.
Lars and Beirut, talking about like where's Luke, she's telling he's run off, and I was having these conversations where he's like telling his kind of reporting officer kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's really well done, like it's handheld camera style.
So yeah, it was done in 1997. So back then there's quite a lot of like mocking of that cops format. Like the X-Files did an episode entirely devoted to it. And I really like this because it's quite funny and like as you put here, like ends with like a disturbance in the Mos Eisley canteen.
Yeah, they get
like,
called away. It's like, you know, they have to go report. So I really like things that kind of fill in the gaps because it's much harder to kind of do a straight-on parody, especially when there's so many like big budget, high-profile ones like Robot Chicken and Family Guy. I really like these ones that fill in the margins. So what you can be in fan films is incredibly smart. And I think this is my favourite one actually. It's George Lucas in Love, and we actually said this on IGN was the best.
Starring Scoot McNairy.
That bloke
looks exactly like Scoot McNairy in Gone Girl.
So you're talking about filling in the margins.
Don't crack over it. It looks exactly like him.
I'm gonna get on with this, okay? Because we need to go home at some point. So it's kind of like a parody biopic of George Lucas. It's like 8 minutes long. You can find it online. And he's starts off at him trying to write his thesis, his graduate screenplay from USC. Really struggling. His stone roommate is talking about a force permeating all of the universe. And he's like, can you quit it? I really need to turn in this script because I need to graduate. And he's got writer's block. And I don't want to spoil too much, but you follow him through a single day in his life, where basically there's so many references to Star Wars they pack into his everyday life. So he passes someone that looks a bit like Jabba. His university lecturer is a little bit like Yoda.
The Jabba guy's being fed as well.
In the background. And basically seeding all these things for his kind of unconscious to absorb until he has that epiphany where it's like, inspiration will find you, George. And it's kind of this beautiful mind, Shakespeare in Love, and he's like, he just starts turning out the screenplay. And it's really sweet, but really funny and really smart, kind of metafictional take on the origin of Star Wars. And I really like it. You should definitely check it out.
It's really good. But those are some of our favourite Star Wars fan films. What are some of yours? Let us know. rebelbase@ign.com.
Yeah, and until next week, for everything on Star Wars, movies, comics, video games, stay right here on IGN.